and our listeners are gaining knowledge in the games that are played.
Well, plus it shows what crooks they are, that they constantly, internationally, nationally, and locally, lie and say, we're done, it's never going to happen. And then they come back again.
Yeah, it's kind of like zombies. But anyway, you like that, huh? But anyway, that's what their game is. I was reading a piece by Carol Quigley today, who wrote in 1965 about what the Illuminists were going to do and spelled it all out. I was amazed at the time that he wrote the book, but it shows you maybe in modern times the beginning of their arrogance. And, you know, Freud and others touched upon the control of the masses. In fact, I'm running a piece along with all of those links from InfoWars. I must have 6 or 7 of them on there. And because they're great. And so if you don't mind, I'll continue to run them. And so we're talking about the control of the minds of Americans and people throughout the world. And we're going to beat them at their own game by telling people the truth and telling the people that this is what they're doing to you with the media. You may not realize it. You may have a high school degree or a couple of years of college or even a degree, but you're not trained in that area and you don't see the things that we see. I know when I went in counterintelligence, one of the first things that we read about was brainwashing. That's what it was called in the early 1950s. And so it hasn't really changed a lot since then, except it's become more sophisticated and the depth of knowledge is far greater. But don't let them fool you. We're here for a reason, and we're here to help you. And that's why we do what we do, especially me at my age. And so let's keep the pressure on them. And when they ease up, we'll remind them, we know what you're doing.
Well, they know that the momentum is shifting against them. Before we get back into the economy and then calls the next segment, they won an Iran war, and now it's just all over the news that they're going to go ahead and strike Iran, maybe even use nukes on them. I mean, I guess even though they know it's going to be unpopular and illegal, they've got to do it as a political distraction because everything else they're doing is falling apart.
That's right. And, you know, how do we explain this plethora of warships and Marine personnel off of Costa Rica?
Oh, that's another.
What's your take on that?
44 ships. The government's voted to allow troops and Marines and helicopters and armored vehicles on the land to fight drug dealers. And it sounds like some kind of bizarre coup, like the government of Costa Rica is bringing the U.S. in ahead of them being voted out in elections. I mean, that's all you can see it as. Now Costa Rica, I guess, has to be invaded.
Well, I live there. And, it's a great center for laundering money. But in the time I lived there, there was very little drugs in the country. And, maybe you're right about the politics, but, I know many people and families who are, quote, at the top of the government. And, there isn't a lot of difference between either party. I find it hard to buy that the new president, which is a lady, I think her name is Chihuahua, or something similar to that. Please excuse me if I'm wrong. I don't know that there's a political problem. I really can't figure out what they're doing there yet. I sure can figure out what's going on in the Persian Gulf. I mean, that's very obvious, as you said. They're getting ready to go.
Well, I tell you, if you look at Grenada and then you look again at Panama, they use the same lie both times. They would say terrorist, and this is 100% there was some truth to it in the island, but with the case of Panama, they just claimed that college students had been kidnapped. And then it was on local news and even came out in some U.S. news that they went to the dormitory and the girls said no one was holding us hostage. And they just invaded and blew the hell out of Panama City for no reason but that Manuel Noriega was going to,
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Let me tell you a little bit about one of our great sponsors, HomeGain.com. This is the place to get you started buying or selling a home, finding a realtor, and getting any real estate questions answered. Go to HomeGain.com and see what I'm talking about. All you need to do is type in your home address, and you will get an instant free estimate of your home's value online. This is a great way to be able to monitor the value of your home. And again, it's absolutely free. There are tons of tools to help you. For instance, if you want to remodel your home, go to HomeGain.com. Use their Home Sale Maximizer to help you determine which home improvements can most increase your home's value before you put it on the market. For 10 years, these folks have been helping home sellers and buyers. Visit their link at Infowars.com. Look for Max, the orange Home Gain Gorilla, to help you with any real estate needs you might have. You'll love this site. It's HomeGain.com. HomeGain.com. Check them out today. Listen up, folks. This is important. Alex Jones here. Now you can get free shipping on the storable, easy-to-fix, delicious food from eFoodsDirect.com. From July 4th through July 14th. We have looming evacuations in the Southeast, unemployment insurance running out, and predictions of huge inflation. So we all need to get as much food as we can. Every one of you needs to buy as much storable food as possible. This is the perfect time to do just that with eFoods Direct and take advantage of their free shipping special. When you order from eFoodsDirect.com from July 4th through July 14th, every dollar you spend will buy the food, and eFoods Direct will pay for the shipping in the continental United States. This is Alex Jones wishing you and your family true independence this 4th of July with great food and free shipping through July 14th from eFoodsDirect.com. You can order on the website eFoodsDirect.com or simply call 800-409-5633. That's 800-409-5633 or on the web at eFoodsDirect.com/ship free. The Fall of America and the Western World is an all-new 10-hour documentary and survival guide rolled into one. In this film, you will see the reasons why our government is failing and what you can do to prepare. Featuring Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, Joseph Farah, David Icke, Naomi Wolf, G. Edward Griffin, Doug McIntyre, Mark Crispin Miller, Mickey Z, Doug Casey, David McElvaney, and myself, Alex Jones. Protect yourself and get the tools you need to protect your family from these difficult times. The Fall of America and the Western World at www.thefallofamerica.net or click on the banners at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Again, that website's www.thefallofamerica.net or call 800-655-1577. Prepare yourself and the ones you love today. Fallofamerica.net.
Rumors spreading round in that Texas town about the shack outside the games. And you know what I'm talking about. Just let me know if you wanna go to that home out on the
Bob Chapman is our guest, going to your phone calls here momentarily on this live Friday edition. We have the sheriff who's got a Mexican hit out on him, a contract out on him, joining us coming up in the next hour. Very important information. But Bob, getting back into the economy, because we only spoke a few minutes about that, why do you think they're finally announcing in CNBC and the New York Times and just everywhere, okay, it's a depression? I mean, my answer is because now they're going to sell us the next solution, giving the very bankers that did this more power. I hate to even call them bankers because there are real banks and, you know, real banks that loan money locally that do a good job in many cases. But these swindlers, these money changers, these globalists that pose as bankers, these Ponzi scheme operators. But I mean, what does it mean, though, to have them signifying that we are going into a depression? I mean, is it because they know the public isn't buying it anymore, that we're in a recovery? I mean, we go from them saying we're in a recovery to maybe it's a double-dip recession overnight to it's a depression.
Well, I think that the public realizes there's something dramatically wrong. What they call it is irrelevant, and the recognition of that by the media may have come about because of the tremendous outside pressures that we've created. And I think that it could also be that, and I put this in the International Forecaster not too long ago, I've been told because Congress has refused to provide funds for the extension of unemployment, that they won't provide funds for stimulus. And that means that the Federal Reserve is going to have to supply the money. And I've been told that over the next 2.5 years, approximately, they're going to apply about $5 trillion to the economy. And so, if major media was saying, "Gee, it's going to be a double-dip recession," and woe is me, and then all of a sudden, perhaps several months from now, everything starts to turn around, and the media would say, "Well," and that's the people who said these things,